Crixus, the champion gladiator of Capua, is summoned to the mistress's chamber. Beyond the battles of the arena, another fight awaits him. The mistress, named Lucretia, is the wife of the slave master Batiatus. Whenever her husband is away, Lucretia calls the robust Crixus to her room. Outside, her personal slave Naedia keeps watch, ready to signal the end of the intense encounter should Batiatus return. Unbeknownst to Lucretia, her male favorite has developed feelings for Naedia.
I find it difficult that you and Dominus share what we have not. For some time.
You alone occupy my thoughts.
In contrast, Spartacus' situation in the training camp is starkly different. His wife Sura was captured and abused by the Roman general Glaber, while he is trapped here, reduced to slavery, with his wife's token tied to his arm. Spartacus' only hope for survival is to be reunited with her. Even sworn in as a gladiator, he is still ostracized by all. Only through relentless training to become stronger might he grasp that elusive freedom. Soon, the annual festival of the Forge is approaching. Batiatus prepared to send 20 gladiators to the arena to give the people of Capua a feast for their eyes, and more than anything, to curry favor with the rich and powerful and seek their patronage. General Glaber's wife, Ilithyia, is part of their plans.
Ilithyia? I thought she was still in Rome with that ungrateful husband of hers.
She returns absent him for the games. She's acquiring quite a taste for them, one which I shall nourish to advantage.
Coach Enemaus announced the pairings. Crixus, the undefeated warrior of Capua, will represent the House of Bile as the Primus in the finale, and against Crixus will be another powerful gladiator, Aeneas. This irks Spartacus. Having defeated Crixus in a test, he feels invincible and holds Crixus in contempt. Desperate to demonstrate his strength to Batiatus to rescue his wife sooner, Spartacus eagerly hopes to be the other headliner against Crixus. During training, Spartacus intentionally provokes Aeneas, leading to Aeneas's severe injury by crashing into a wooden post. But this is just the first step. Even with Aeneas out, Spartacus is unlikely to be the alternate choice in the competitive camp. At the evening banquet for the dignitaries, Batiatus has the gladiators appear in succession, serving as playthings for the noblewomen. After killing 4 gladiators in the arena, the noblewomen show keen interest in Spartacus. This makes Batiatus consider Spartacus for the role of the other Primus.
With respect, Dominus, the public seeks an honorable fight. Spartacus is yet an animal.
Meanwhile, the robust Crixus catches the eye of Glaber's wife, Ilithyia. The moment Ilithia's fingers touch Crixus, a hint of worry flickers in Lucretia's eyes.
I tremble to see him again at the arena.
As do we all.
Suddenly, Spartacus, standing nearby, abruptly unleashes an inexplicable beating on Crixus.
Spartacus!
No, let them fight!
The fierce clash of muscles instantly electrifies the atmosphere. As the excitement reaches its peak, Batiatus orders his men to separate them.
Not to your fucking heart! Come and take a coward!
Seeing that the nobles were not done, Batiatus announced that tomorrow they would fight in the arena. Finally, Spartacus achieves his goal and becomes Crixus's opponent. At this point, Spartacus still doesn't realize the formidable enemy he faces. The next day, the duel performance officially begins. With Varro's blessings, Spartacus enters the arena. Many have died before him, and the arena is stained with blood. Crixus's entrance instantly elevates the excitement to its peak. Spartacus, seizing the moment, strikes first, much to the nobility's displeasure. Initially, their fight is evenly matched. But after a few rounds, Spartacus is easily knocked down. In both dueling skills and strength, Spartacus is no match for Crixus. Thus, Crixus completely dominates the match, his beast-like masculinity thrilling everyone present. The women in the audience glow with a desire to be conquered by the strong. Crixus then launches a fierce attack, giving Spartacus no chance. With his sword at Spartacus's neck, cries of "kill him" erupt from the stands. Seeing his wife's keepsake on his arm, Spartacus knows if he dies, she may spend her life as someone else's plaything. Ultimately, Spartacus discards all pride and dignity, slowly and tremblingly raising 2 fingers, a sign of surrender. Surrendering in the arena is a great shame for a gladiator, requiring more courage than facing death. Yet, the audience seems to prefer seeing Spartacus dead. Despite this, Batiatus, ignoring the jeers, orders Spartacus's release. After all, Batiatus has spent a considerable sum on buying and training Spartacus and hasn't recouped his investment. He doesn't want Spartacus to die prematurely. Although Spartacus survives, his future will be fraught with difficulties. His surrender and plea for mercy make him unpopular with the audience, and it will be hard for him to appear in the arena again. Spartacus will probably be spat upon by everyone. Yet, compared to saving his life and rescuing his suffering wife, these humiliations seem insignificant. However, Batiatus isn't one to nurture a useless person. He plans to send Spartacus to the underground arena to extract his last bit of value. If the arena had a semblance of humanity, the underground arena could only be described as a living hell. There are no rules here, only endless slaughter until an opponent is killed. The spectators of these duels are vicious gamblers, betting on gladiators to win large sums of money. The participants in these duels are twisted, often not just killing their opponents but flaying them or even turning their skulls into ornaments. Soon it was Spartacus' turn to fight. Due to the excessive violence of the fighting, it's uncertain how it should be edited. Eventually, Spartacus wins against his opponent. At this moment, Spartacus is utterly exhausted, but Batiatus didn't care about him in order to win more money. He didn't let Spartacus have any rest before he went into another life and death fight. Spartacus knows if he dies, his wife might forever be a plaything for others, so he survives through sheer willpower. After being sent back to the training camp's dungeon, Spartacus collapses. Drained of energy, Spartacus' friend Varro was happy to see him again. After all, it's not easy to come back from the underground arena alive. However, Spartacus is met with contempt and insults from other gladiators who see participating in the underground arena as shameful. Fortunately, Varro defends Spartacus and continuously encourages him, even procuring herbs to ease his pain, but Spartacus refuses them, wanting to remain alert. Over the next few days, Batiatus, aiming to earn more gambling money, sends Spartacus back to the underground arena time and again. Although Spartacus narrowly escapes death each time, the prolonged physical strain pushes him to the brink of mental collapse. In a daze, he dreams of his wife Sura caught in a bloody storm, calling for him to save her. This deeply worries Spartacus about Sura's safety. Knowing he will eventually die if he continues to fight, Spartacus makes a deal with Batiatus.
The odds remain high in my favor.
Still,
Then bet everything you have against me.
you would die in the pits willingly to see my fortunes rise?
Yes. If you will hold to wrest my wife from the Syrian with a piece of it.
Batiatus agrees without hesitation. To avoid suspicion, he instructs Spartacus to fight genuinely for a while before pretending to be defeated. As the duel begins, Batiatus disperses the bets among different traitors. Initially, Spartacus and his opponent fight back and forth. When the time seems right, Spartacus drops his axe and stops resisting, but just then, he realizes someone is attempting to assassinate Batiatus with a dagger. If Batiatus dies, no one can help him save Sura. In a desperate situation, Spartacus unleashes his primal strength. He suddenly picks up an axe from the ground, swiftly killing his opponent with a few strikes and then throwing the body away. Spartacus directly kills the assassin. Batiatus turns pale with fear. Although his life is saved, he loses all his wealth. Returning home, Batiatus recounts the incident to his wife, Lucretia.
Oh, we don't have it. That Thracian. He brings nothing but shame on our house.
Were it not for him, you would be a widow.
Finally, Batiatus approaches Spartacus to thank Spartacus for saving his life. He allows Spartacus to rejoin the ranks of the gladiators and promises to help him find Sura. What Spartacus doesn't know is that Batiatus never intended to help him find Sura before. Even when Spartacus was risking his life in a deal with Batiatus, Lucretia, having been married for 10 years without a child, entrusts a close friend to find a priestess, offering a hefty sum for a fertility ritual. The priestess performs a ritual in the hall and prepares a potion, made from unknown ingredients, for Lucretia to drink. She also tells Lucretia that she must engage in intimate relations within an hour. Although her husband Batiatus is busy with important matters outside, a hint of sly joy appears on Lucretia's face. She instructs her personal slave Naevia to find the slave Crixus. However, as the champion gladiator of Capua, Crixus has a life and death battle in the arena tomorrow and he politely declines Lucretia's request. Indulgence before a duel could weaken a man. Long-term companionship has made Lucretia fall in love with this imposing man. Fearing that Crixus might not return tomorrow, Lucretia, with tears in her eyes, ultimately gives up the chance of conceiving and lets Crixus leave. Unnoticed by her, Crixus's refusal fills Naedia with joy. When Naedia escorts Crixus back to the dungeon, Crixus finally gets the chance to reveal his true feelings.
You said love drains a man.
It can give him hope in the right arms.
Indeed, Crixus is facing a monumental battle tomorrow. A few days earlier, the magistrate Caladius visited Batiatus's training ground. Years of drought have brought great suffering to the people of Capua. To pray for rain, Caladius decides to hold a grand gladiatorial match, hoping Batiatus will send his best fighters. Accompanying Caladius was another gladiator slave master, Salonius. Batiatus readily agrees, having lost a fortune in the underground arena and desperately hoping to recoup his losses through this event. So, Batiatus recommends his ace, Crixus, to face Salonius's gladiator. What he didn't expect was Salonius securing the legendary figure of the arena, the Shadow of Death, Theokoles. Just hearing the name Theokoles sends shivers down the spines of both Batiatus and his wife. This is because, out of the hundreds of gladiators who have faced Theokoles, only one has survived to tell the tale. Batiatus realizes this is a scheme by Salonius, who intends to make him lose Crixus, the champion of Capua, thereby stripping him of his strength in the arena and preventing any future contention with him. With the word already out and unchangeable, Batiatus, focusing his wits, comes up with a plan to have the newcomer Spartacus join Crixus in the battle. Upon hearing the name Theokoles, trainers Enemaus and Crixus instantly turn pale, while Spartacus remains unaware of what this truly means. Now Spartacus just wants to save his wife and has no interest in the fight. That is until his friend Varro informs Spartacus that winning against Theokoles could earn a prize large enough to buy his wife's freedom 10 times over. In the training that follows, Batiatus specifically arranges for Enemaus to train the two men. Spartacus is all fired up. However, even together, they are no match for Enemaus, let alone Theokoles, the Shadow of Death. With their disharmonious relationship, their chances of winning the match are nearly zero. Therefore, Spartacus seeks out Crixus, hoping to turn their rivalry into an alliance against the common enemy. However, Crixus despised him at his core.
You fight because you are a slave. Like me. No! You still dream of a life beyond the arena, where that wife of yours we've all heard about is still nestled by your side. And that is all it is, Spartacus. A dream. And one day soon you will awaken to the truth. You will never leave this place. And your wife, if she's not dead already, has been fucked to madness by 100 Roman cock.
They end up fighting fiercely until Enemaus intervenes just in time. Seeing that they were still fighting amongst themselves, Enemaus simply took off his shirt, revealing the scars he never wanted to talk about in his life.
My failure. His first cut. Dealt when I thought him vulnerable. His next assault came as I fell back to regain position. He will move to separate your head from your neck, because I survived longer than any man that stood against him.
Turns out, Enemaus is the only one who survived a battle with Theokoles. If they can't even defeat him together, they'll likely be dead by this time tomorrow. It's only then they finally decide to set aside their differences to face the mighty adversary. Unfortunately, on the eve of the battle, Crixus's indulgence with Naedia severely depletes his strength, an act that would soon lead to his downfall. The next day, with Enemaus' blessing, they finally step into the arena.
My hour of glory is long past. Yours stands before you. Heal old wounds. Kill that fucking son of all.
At that moment, they are unaware that this battle for life and death will completely alter their destinies.